This version of the San Damiano Cross is one that I painted. It's off of the original San Damiano Cross, which is a 6-foot cross, and this is 6 feet. And the original was done on walnut wood and done in a style of icons. And I kept all the figures that were on the original cross as close as I could. However, I did paint it with a little bit of my own style. But the main figure on the cross is Christ. And Christ is the light of the world. So the whole San Damiano Cross is based on John's Gospel, with the dark and the light, the sin and death, heaven and earth. So Christ is the light, and it's the light that illumines the whole rest of the cross. And Christ is standing in triumph, and he is not nailed anymore. You don't see nails in his hands and feet, but you see the blood spurting out of his hands and feet. So he is standing in triumph, looking out into the world. He's standing before the open tomb. You see the black, but you see so much of it covered with gold and red, because you see heaven conquers hell, and you see love conquers hate. Red is for love, and so the love of Christ conquers the hate of sin and death. And so it's a play on light and dark, sin, death, resurrection. It is the whole Paschal mystery. To the left of Christ, you see Mary and you see St. John. And these are secondary figures. And Mary she's cloaked with a deep red out of love. And then that kind of bluish color of dress is really, that's a symbol of the Ark of the Covenant. And John, has a different color in his clothing, and this is really holiness. On the right side, you see Mary Magdalene, and you see her in red. And Mary Magdalene, of course, the great lover of Christ, and Mary of Clopas. And Mary of Clopas has brown tones and green, and the brown is humility, and the green for hope. And these two women were faithful followers of Christ. What we did here was make this cross very significant to the Franciscan Sisters of Christian Charity. And so below the feet of Christ, on the original one, there were figures there of the patron saints of Assisi. But they're most all obliterated, from people touching them or kissing the foot of the cross. In the renderings of the San Damiano Cross, people will personalize it by putting saintly people at the bottom that represent their community. Sister chose 7 people that she thought were extremely significant in the history of our community, and that were very good and holy people, and that got us as far as we were, and it goes up to Vatican II and just beyond. The whole top section, you see Christ is ascending into heaven. So that's where the whole idea of the Paschal mystery comes. I mean, he not only dies, he rises, and then he ascends into heaven. And you have the hand of the Father at the top. You have Christ ascending, and the Father sends Christ down to earth. This is the second person of the Blessed Trinity, and then he welcomes him back in triumph with the angels and saints into heaven.